So excited to be back in the house for another edition of AH Live. And today our very special guest is from Germany by way of Los Angeles, the one and only Nils, guitarist extraordinaire. And yes, that's right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to have a guitar duel. It doesn't happen that often. We have had some great guitarists, though, haven't we? We've had Paul Jackson Jr., Blake Aaron, Chieli Minucci, but today we have Nils, and cannot wait to have some conversation with him and some fantastic music. Do us a favor, please click share. We want to spread the vibes all around Facebook, all around the world. I know we've got people tuning in and love seeing where you're tuning in from. Drop those in the comments. Don't forget to drop in your questions for Ask Adam. Kat will be monitoring the comments. Speaking of Kat, we've had so much fun bringing her in at the top of the show. And so I thought, you know what? Why don't we do it one more time? So here she is, an early edition of the Cat Cam. Hey.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. You look
Hi,
lovely
everyone.
today.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And we are going to get jumped off with a tune off of my most recent record. The record is Escape, and this is a tune Kat was nice enough to do for us. It is called Señorita.
Pretend I didn't need ya, but every touch is ooh la la la. It's true la la la. Oh, I should be running. Oh, you keep me coming. Land in Miami, the air was hot from summer rain, sweat dripping off me before I even knew your name. La la la. It felt like ooh la la la. Tequila sunrise, my body fit right in your hands, la la la. It felt like ooh la la la, yeah. I love it when you call me señorita. I wish I could pretend I didn't need ya, but every touch is ooh la la la. It's true la la la. Ooh, I should be running. Ooh, you know I love it when you call me. I wish I could, it's so damn hard to leave ya, but every touch is ooh la la la. It's true la la la. Ooh, I should be running. Ooh, you keep me coming for it's true.
Oh, yes, ladies and gentlemen, that was just a little bit of Sin. You'll read it to get us started. Thank you, Kat, for that.
Thank you. You're welcome.
My little senorita over there. We'll hear from Kat a little bit later. All right. See you in a bit, hun. All right. That was so much fun. We're just getting started, ladies and gentlemen. So, as I mentioned, we have a dynamic, incredible performer. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't already know, Nils had the biggest song of the decade from 2000 to 2010. We're going to talk about that. We're going to hear that tune and just get a little bit to know about how he got started in the business as well. So thanks, Nils, in advance for hanging out. And by the way, if you want to help out the show, you guys know what to do. You've been here ever since last April. We're on episode 44. We made it real easy for you. Of course, you can do stars. Thank you for that. And also, you can click that link in the description. And we've got PayPal, Cash App, Venmo. You can also get to the website and pick up my merchandise. And make sure you check out Neil's website as well. He'll let you know about that. And you can grab his awesome music as well. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you will enjoy the next few minutes with Nils. All right, what's up, Nils? How you doing today?
Hey Adam, thanks for having me. I'm great being here in my studio where I live these days.
Oh man, you and me both, and you got a killer setup there, so I appreciate you taking the time. We're going to start with you right where I start with all of my guests. What was the reason you picked up the guitar?
First, I wanted to become a soccer star, and there was too much running involved. With the guitar. And it was easier to get girls with it that way, you know? No, it was like my early teenage years, and these were all important considerations. I just loved, I was drawn to music, and I don't know where it comes from because my parents are not musicians, but I always had music in my head, and my mom had a guitar hanging, a little old acoustic guitar hanging on the wall, but she couldn't teach me. And I finally found a teacher, and I found it was just a good instrument to start with, because you get to a certain point where you actually can play a song within just a very few lessons. And it was, and I got into it, and then I had some friends who started a band and do all that kind of stuff, and it was more and more fun as I went along. And the rest is history. Man.
It certainly is. What about making the jump to come out to LA? I made a similar trek, but not for nearly as far. I came from Oregon. It's only about 1,000 miles. But you made that leap across the pond. What was the impetus for that?
Well, it was basically at the point I was going to university in Munich, studying electronics, and I really didn't dig it. It was basically, it didn't look like I had another option to really do this professionally in Germany, because it was more like all the bands that professionally did music, they were doing, polkas or parties, dance, casual bands basically, and that's not what I was into. And the conservatory was only classical music. So the only real school that seemed to have some, I was looking overseas to the Musicians Institute in Hollywood. And my parents actually saved me. My parents moved to Puerto Rico. My dad got to run a Rodenstock branch over there that makes sunglasses, German company in Puerto Rico, and he was the plant manager over there. And when they moved, I finally got up the guts and quit school and went to a private music school, and my parents cut my allowance, and I was driving a cab just to get by, but I stuck with it, and then finally saying, I was like, you can't go on like this. What do you really want to do with your life? I said, well, there's great schools in Los Angeles, and they ended up sending me over to LA to go to school there, study guitar, and then after that I learned about another school, the Grove, where I studied composition and arrangement. And then during that time I met guys who had owned a recording studio, and I started working as an engineer, and I'm still here 30 years later.
I came across an interesting tidbit. You played on a platinum record, a rhythm guitar with the Temptations, isn't that right?
That's right, the Phoenix Rising album. It was a session that I got invited into, playing on a song, and it was great. It was great because they just had that documentary out at the same time. So that made the record really popular and went gold and platinum. But you know, to tell you the truth, I did not get to meet them because it was basically a session that I got booked for.
Yeah.
And you know, it was sad that I didn't really get to hang with the guys, but still feels good to be on the record. Especially in this town, you have so many musicians and session musicians, and you cross paths you don't even know. You know, I remember the first time I met Rick Braun. Paul Brown hired me to play guitar on Rick Braun's record. So I did the rhythm guitar parts, and then after the session I went to a little club on the LA Strip in Studio City, La Ville, and the band was playing, and they invited, oh, we have a friend in the audience we want to bring up for one song. Please put your hands together for Rick Braun. And the guy next to me gets up. Oh! It was funny because that was the first time I met him. You know, I was like, hey man, I just played on your record.
What was the impetus to decide to become a solo artist?
I always was more of a solo artist-minded guy. I always wrote songs, and in retrospect, you know, I didn't really realize it. Even when I was here at school, people came up to me, man, I understand you wrote this song, it's really great. I said, well, it's just a tune I wrote, you know. That later kind of realized that there's a special skill that some people were, you know, envious about. I was envious. I wanted to become the hottest session player in LA. That was my thing. It's like I was like, why are people not booking me on these sessions? You know, and I ended up hiring everybody who I wanted to be like for my projects at the end of the day. And it took me a while to really realize that I'm not really a sideman per se. I'm more an artist type.
It seems like you did a bit of a back and forth with George Benson. It seemed like you did some work on his record and then he returned the favor. Is that right?
We wrote a song for George Benson, me and my production partner at that time, and he liked it, but Tommy Lee Puma from the record label turned it down. So I said, well, it's a good track. I'm just using it on my album. At the same time we were talking to George, my partner knew that George had a song, unused song laying around. And he said, why not let Nils make, let's do a duet with Nils. You know, use that track, it's just sitting around, and all the, you know, Nils can put his guitar on it and, you know, just make it as a duet. And, you know, first, George didn't know me from Adam. Excuse my pun. And so we met in LA next time he was in town, and walked back to his hotel room, and, you know, I first asked him like you know, what's your guitar, what do you play, George, you know, and he gave me the Ibanez answer because he was endorsing his Ibanez model. But then we went to his hotel room. He disappeared in the suite and came back with a $50,000 Daquista Jazz hollow body. Wow. I said, well, Nils, this is my baby. So he sits in front of me, puts it in my hand, and said, okay, play. So I'm sitting there in a hotel room with a $50,000 guitar and George Benson, like, right in front of me, looking at my fingers. And like, for a second, like, okay, well, and then it just started jamming. And then the greatest things that happened is that he asked me, oh man, show me that lick. You know, and I got to show George Benson the lick, and then he'd take the guitar and we went back and forth, and it was the greatest time, you know. Wow. He's just such a, you know, he always likes to pick up new ideas and all that stuff. He still learns to this day. And it was just an incredible honor even to work with him. And yeah, he agreed to do the duet and let me use the track. It's called Yesterday's Dream. It's on my Blue Planet CD. And then the greatest thing happened that we released the CD and gave George a copy. And the song that we had submitted for him was right after the song, after the duet on the album. So he heard it again and said, he called us back like the next day and said, Nils, I gotta have this track. I talked to Tommy, we're gonna put it on the record. Wow. Send the tracks over to Paul Brown. And so they used our version, just replaced my guitar with George's guitar, and it's on George's record.
You were nice enough to perform for us, and let's get started first with a tune of yours. It's called Out of Sight. Tell us a little bit about this tune.
Out of Sight is the second single from my current record. The record is called Caught in the Groove. It's my second #1 hit of the same record, which is great. And it's actually the first song I wrote for the album. It was just one of these songs, after a while you can tell I have a certain style. It's like an upbeat, danceable, kind of really fun song to jam on. And I would say this is a typical Nils song, and I'm really happy that it really made it that well on radio.
Really killer, man. And we have one more. You were nice enough to let me jam on this. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, this next song was Song of the Decade. Tell us a little bit about Pacific Coast Highway.
Yeah, Pacific Coast Highway is really what put me on the map, so to speak. It wasn't my second album, because the first one, Blue Planet, really got died within record labels filing bankruptcies and stuff like that. But then I got signed to a new label with Pacific Coast Highway, and at the time I thought I'd just use it as a business card. Didn't expect much, but the song just hit the charts and went up and just stayed at #1 forever. It's the most played song, probably this side of the millennium. It became a classic, so I'm fortunate in that regard that this song became like a standard song within the smooth jazz community. I knew I had a good song, but you never know how successful it will be, you know. And I got lucky on that it was really a big success, and I was actually on my way to working on some more, getting my career in a film writing direction or something like that, but with that song, all of a sudden I was thrown into the smooth jazz world and became a touring recording artist, you know. And now 11 albums later, I'm still doing it and enjoying it.
Well, let's hear it. Song of the decade, Pacific Coast Highway. Awesome, man. Thanks so much for lending your talents to AH Live. And before we get out of here, just let us know where we can find you online and on social media.
Well, for one, I want to thank you for having me,
Oh.
and I really appreciate all the good work you've been doing on the format too. I've been following all your hits, and congratulations, you had the #1 song of the year this year. Awesome. People can find me at nilsguitar.com. That's my fan club thing. They can join and get a couple of free downloads and get updated. But I have a weekly show like you do on Facebook. If you follow me at facebook.com Nils Guitar, Nils Guitar, and my YouTube channel is also youtube.com Nils Guitars.
Awesome, man. Well, you heard it from the man himself. Thank you so much, Nils, for coming through. Appreciate you.
Peace.
Oh yes, the one and only Nils. Nice enough to drop in. What an incredible talent. And man, so much fun dueling with him on PCH, Pacific Coast Highway. Appreciate you, Nils. Thanks for dropping in and taking the time to be one of our distinguished guests here on AH Live. Let's bring in my lovely wife one more time. There she is. Hey, welcome back.
Thank you.
How about Nils?
Nils was great.
Yes.
I always hear his music on Sirius, but I don't think I've ever actually seen him play.
You know what's crazy? Nils and I were talking, because obviously we did the interview, but we talked a lot off air as well, so to speak. And it's crazy. We've both been in LA this whole time and never ran into each other. We've never been in the same. We've never been in the same jazz club hanging out. We've never seen each other at a festival. It's so bizarre. And he's been wildly successful, and it's just one of those things. You can't have too many guitar players in the room. I mean, let me tell you, you gotta watch out. But no, so we were just kind of laughing about that, and Nils was nice enough to reach out in the first place. I remember him sending an email and just saying congrats on one of my tunes that had done well recently, and so I just hit him back, and then we kept in touch ever since. So definitely. Especially after the pandemic and everything, we're gonna have to figure out a hang and get a little guitar summit going on. And by the way, thanks so much, ladies and gentlemen, for hanging in. I know we had a skipping video there. I suspect I'm gonna do some more research. I think it's a rights issue. That was a music video with the original recording, and a lot of times they will flag that because they think it's being used without permission. Obviously, it's used with permission. Nils agreed to come on the show. But I think Facebook was jumping in and kind of, making it jump like that. So that's what I suspect. I'm going to do some more research. But thanks for hanging in there. And fortunately, PCH, we were able to hear that, and it was an awesome performance. So speaking of which, Kat, what are the people talking about out there?
Well, of course, a lot of people are familiar with Nils, and they love his music. And I think when he was talking about his George Benson story,
that was so crazy.
Everybody, I probably saw 15 comments where people were like, this is amazing, love this story. I know Vaughn and Lynn Stupert, they were saying, what an awesome story about George Benson. Dave Fritz said, this is fascinating. So many people were just saying, we love that. And then they were saying that probably was an amazing experience as well.
Yeah, and I can attest, George is just the most humble and just sweetest guy. He's the baddest man on the planet and one of the most amazing singers on the planet. And yet, I remember meeting him. I was at the Hollywood Bowl performing with the Manhattan Transfer, and I was about to take a solo. It was our last song, and he was coming on after us. And I remember looking over, and he's staring at me. I was like, oh my goodness, I better get it together. But I took my solo. It went well. And then afterwards, I was able to meet him. And the first thing he said was, whoa, we can have a guitar player this good in my dressing room. So he totally threw me a compliment right away. And it totally just disarmed me and just broke the ice. And he's just the nicest guy. So I'm not surprised Nils had a similar moment, and that's pretty cool, trading licks with the GOAT. So
right. Didn't you have a similar experience with Paul Jackson Jr.?
When
on the cruise or something.
Well, when we met was at my church
right.
In Inglewood, and I remember going up to him and introducing myself, and I had been playing the whole service, so he had heard me. and we were talking a while, and then all of a sudden he's like, man, I need your number. And so, we traded numbers, and then we've been in touch ever since. We've been dear friends, and he's been a bunch of times he couldn't make a gig or a session. He's been nice enough to send me in his place. So, it's pretty cool. That's the great thing about the music industry. It's just and especially the jazz community, it's just such a family atmosphere and sharing, and we're all pulling for each other. So it's a pretty cool aspect.
Very cool. And when you were doing your interview with Nils, I had to write down the quote when he said he doesn't really know like where he picked up the music from. It kind of just, was something that he loved, and it was magical for him.
Yeah.
Because he said his parents aren't musicians.
Yeah.
And when he said that, I kind of looked because so many people ask you that same question.
Yeah.
And you have the same exact answer. You're like, I have no idea because my parents don't do anything in music.
I think my excuse, I found our record collection, and we also had a big cassette collection at the time, too. This is pre-CDs. And that's what got me hooked. They had Earth, Wind & Fire, Brothers Johnson, Elvis. They had all those Time Life compilations of like the 60s. Beach Boys, all that stuff. I was listening to oldies, R&B, Motown. I was listening to a lot of Motown.
Yeah.
So, I just, for some reason, got hooked at an early age. So, same for Nils.
Same for Nils.
Yep.
Okay, and of course we have all of our wonderful followers tuning in from all over the world and the country.
Yeah.
So we have Beverly Richardson. She said she's checking in from Chandler, Arizona.
All right.
Preston
What's up?
Jordan here in SoCal.
Yep.
Connie Reeves, I think it is. I'm sorry if I'm saying your last name wrong. She's in Louisville, Kentucky. Diane Otley, or it could be Oatley Johnson. Yeah. She's in Cathedral City, and she says that's outside of Palm Springs.
Okay.
Because I guess a lot of people were asking where that was.
Yeah.
We have Gail Banks watching from Oceanside, Janet Jones, Cleveland, Ohio, Angela Briley Gwynn, and she's watching from Marietta, Georgia.
Okay, all right.
And then, of course, we have all of our people here in SoCal that we know that's watching, like Marilyn and Rick in San Diego, Rhonda Kilpatrick in San Diego. We have Leon and Willie watching in Virginia.
Yeah.
And Kurt Smith, hi Kurt. He said when like right after I sang Senorita.
This was funny.
He said, with the both of you on screen, these lyrics are probably TMI.
Oh wow, way too suggestive. This is a PG show, ladies and gentlemen, maybe PG-13. No, you know what the truth
that made
about,
me laugh so much.
I always look for an opportunity to feature Kat on every record, and that one came to me. I was driving late at night, I think coming back from a gig or something, and that song came on the radio. It was like 1 a.m. and it just hit me like a lightning bolt. Because I was searching, all over looking for the right tune, and that one was like bam, I heard it. And of course the original is a duet between Shawn Mendes and help me out, Camila Cabello. And I was like, okay, well, I could be Shawn if she's Camila. And we kind of, worked it out, and it was so much fun to do. So, so TMI, huh?
Are you not going to tell them what you tell me all the time about when you chose that song, sort of like Hello? And
well, I learned a lesson going forward. We're going to try to stick to songs that Kat brings up because it's so funny. I'll be like, I hear it. I know it's going to work. And then it's like pulling teeth getting her to record it and do it. But then it always turns out great and people always enjoy it. But it still doesn't matter. It's still even today I was pulling teeth getting you to sing it. But it was awesome. It was awesome.
It was awesome. Yeah. When I do have to say, when he presented Hello to me, he's like, oh, we should do this. And I already have like this really cool like South African kind of thing, and I was like, this sounds ridiculous. And it took us a really long time.
And some marriage counseling too.
It took us a really long time to record that because not only is it a very demanding song vocally on my voice, but
well, it has a really unusual range. It
it does.
It goes up very high, has big interval jumps, which is unusual, and it goes very low. So it's an unorthodox song, but if anyone can do it, it's you, honey.
Oh, thank you. So yeah, it took us a long time to record that song.
Yep.
Just because what he was hearing, I was not hearing, and what he wanted me to do, I was having a hard time delivering. So,
but you did it.
Thank you.
You did it. And actually, that's only the second time we've ever performed it. We performed it. The debut was on H Live about 8 months ago. That's only the second time, ladies and gentlemen. So, we're making dreams come true here on AH Live.
We have someone. Okay, Angela Briley Gwynn, who
yes,
I
saw
just
that.
said was watching from Marietta, Georgia. Hi, Angela. She says, new follower to AH Live. Found you by listening to Lindsay Webster. Love you guys. Love Bones to Rufus. Oh, love Bones. That's so cute.
I wonder if we can catch Rufus before the end of the show. He got groomed today, and he's looking very spiffy.
He is looking spiffy.
Kat was saying he's acting brand new because he's all all cut up and groomed. So I'll see if I can grab him before the end of the show. But I saw another thing here. Let me find it. Where was it? Where was it? Please hold on. Hold the phone. Well, Lynn Stupert says, there's another song I love by Kat. Hello.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I wanted to answer. Well, I guess this is part of Ask Adam. I'm not cutting you off. Are we ready for Ask Adam? Or
we are ready for Ask Adam, actually.
Okay.
So it's a good time.
I'm going to start. Segue. Sorry to take your job. But Mark Wiersbeck asks, will Adam be playing at any festivals later this year? That is a fantastic question. Of course, it would be my delight to show up and come hang with you guys. There's a ton of shows I have that were supposed to happen in 2020 that are hypothetically rescheduled for 2021, and I'm talking about the Los Cabos Festival, Warren Hill, Catalina here in LA, Norfolk. What else? Jazz Legacy down in Hampton, Virginia. I'm missing some. There's so many. I got to pull up the list.
I don't know.
So, I mean, they're all rescheduled essentially a year later. Oh, Chicago. I'm supposed to be in Chicago for Smooth Jazz Chicago in October. Florida, Tampa. I'm supposed to be at the Uptown Jazz Festival. And then the next day in Boca Raton with Roland. Also, I'm supposed to be at Florida Smooth Jazz Weekend in, I believe that's October. So to answer your question, yes, there's a ton of shows on the schedule. The question is, will they happen? And that's just all, state to state. How are things going with the pandemic? How are things going with vaccination? Some states will be open, some won't. I would suspect, like Florida, some of those might happen. Whereas, in other states, just depending on regulations, but also just how people are doing, and how much of, has it cooled down or not. So it's hard to say.
Interesting, because as we were talking about last week, California basically is just, it's crazy everywhere, but here it's really, really bad, super contagious, so many people being infected. And then, of course, we still have a lot of things closed. Businesses are closing down, like one of our favorite cafes closed down, and just other private-owned businesses that we know of. But then, you look on the news or like you see on people's social media, and they're like inside Waffle House eating, or they're like at the mall, or they're just like at a barbecue with like 30 people. It's insane.
I was in a conversation with a friend of the show, my good friend Marcus Anderson, and we were on the phone, and I heard him ordering, and I said, "What are you doing?" He's, "Oh, I'm in a Waffle House." And then I said, and then we kept talking, and then I could tell he was eating. And so, it's just different from state to state, and obviously, Kat's not trying to do that. But he was telling me,
us, I know restaurant.
But he was telling me there in Carolina, they have like partitions between the booths, and so you have your little area. So, anyways, long story short, now let me answer.
Nothing.
Okay. Anyways, moving on. What I did want to say is I had a few requests in here from people. San Diego Smooth Jazz Festival, Rubenson. I am not scheduled there. Let them know you want me back. I have played it before. It's a fantastic festival right there on the water. So let them know. Ozzy and his lovely wife. Let them know. Another request was Burke's. I've played there a couple times. That's not on the schedule, so let John Ernesto know you want me back. Seabreeze, I've done that many times. I'm not on this year. Typically, they've been having me rotate, but it doesn't hurt. Let them know you want me there in 22 as well. But no, there's a ton of them on the schedule, though. So yeah, just check my website. I'm constantly updating it. Yeah, fingers crossed. Hopefully we'll make it happen. But if not, they'll just move it on to 22. And we'll keep hanging right here every week. You don't have to worry about that because I've got so much planned for us on this show. I've got a ton of guests coming up, and I'm just about to start working on my next record. I'm going to have previews for you guys, pictures from the studio, a lot of things to share with you guys. So at the very least, we'll be hanging right here every Wednesday. All right, Kat, sorry to take your job.
Yes,
Go ahead.
It's okay. We have from Allison Fader. Hi, Allison. She says, how did the guitar start being referred to as an axe?
Wow. I am going to have to look that up. I do not know the answer.
Oh,
other than
really?
maybe because you can hold it like an axe, and then, we have seen a few people destroy some guitars that way. But, man, that's a great question. I'm going to have to look that up and get back to you next week.
That is a really good question. Okay.
I do not know.
So I'll put a star here so we can remember to come back to that next week. So you're going to have to research that.
Yep.
Okay, so Nancy Stack says, are you teaching virtually?
I am. So I teach at Saddleback College down in Mission Viejo, Orange County. And yes, I'm having so much fun. I have private students. I also have an ensemble class. And man, I'm just so proud of my students. They're just doing so fantastic. Last semester, we made a bunch of music videos virtually, and everyone was blown away at the talent that they displayed. And then my guitar students are just fantastic as well, the private students. So, but yeah, it's all virtual. It's all Zoom. Mm-hmm. And but we're making a lot of great music, so we're having fun with it.
I do want to, before I get to this next question, shout out to Edgar Correa. Hi, Edgar, because when you were doing the interview with Nils, he said that he was watching from work in Deerfield, Florida, and then shortly after that, he said that he was driving home, and then I think he's home now because he says cheers, and he has a cocktail glass emoji.
That's going to be me here in just a second.
But we appreciate you guys. I mean, all from where you're watching from. You always say that, Adam's shows on Wednesdays are comforting and it's something to look forward to and it helps you get through your week. But I mean, just for us, it's very therapeutic and we're excited to see you guys all, in the chat. And
for sure.
And I think once live shows start to come back and then we actually get to meet all of you guys like in person, it's going to be extremely special. I'll be like, oh my gosh, I remember, we don't know each other, through person, but we talk to each other every week.
Oh, here's another one. Smooth Jazz Cruise, Roy Stone. Okay, Roy, it's your job and everyone else that's watching right now. Let Michael Lazaroff know you want me back. I've done the Smooth Jazz Cruise before, and it was so much fun. And so make sure to let Lazaroff know that you want me back. I had another question here was, will I have an Indiegogo opportunity for the next album? And the answer is yes, I am going to debut that. And it is going to be available in coming weeks. And of course, the best place to check that out and keep in touch is on adamholly.com.
Are we having a technical issue?
There we go. AdamHolly.com. I think we have our lovely wife back. There she is. So anyways, what I was saying was that, yes, there will be an Indiegogo campaign. Thank you so much, everyone out there that has just been incredible supporting us over the years. And yes, and by the way, if you haven't done one of my Indiegogo campaigns, it's a great way to pre-order the album and a lot of other really cool features, t-shirts, other types of merchandise. You can be a associate producer. You can have your name in the liner notes, etc. So we're going to be bringing back a bunch of those features, signed, autographed. What am I thinking of, Kat?
I don't know.
Oh, the sheet music, autographed sheet music from the first single, all sorts of things. So definitely look for that. And I am, in fact, going into the studio in 2 weeks to get started on album number 4. And so I'm going to be, like I said, giving you guys free previews of that and showing you some pictures and video. And, you know, as we get closer to the album, I'll be debuting a song a week or 2 songs a week. So excited. I've got special guests planned. I've got 10 brand new songs I can't wait to share with you. And so it's going to be a blast. So anyways, I'm
Awesome.
talking too much. Go ahead, Kat. What is the next question
Next
for Ask Adam?
question is from Linda Dickinson. Actually, I think it's an Ask Kat. It says, "What does your shirt say?"
Go ahead, Kat. What does it say?
And being that this is Black History Month, although I celebrate Black History all year long because, I mean, obviously, but, you know, wanted to bring awareness to Black History Month, which is American history. But my shirt says, "Nah, Rosa Parks, 1955. Because Rosa was sitting on the bus and she was like, "Nah." Which a lot of people, you know Rosa Parks, but they always kind of misinterpret or mislearn her story. And it's been said, you know, like she didn't want to move from the bus, from her seat, because she was tired. But in an interview, she said that she was tired of giving in to the mistreatment of, you know, segregation, which at that time in 1955, which was not that long ago, segregation was written in law. So it was legal for people to be separated and for hate crimes to be committed. And so the story is a Caucasian gentleman came onto the bus, and, you know, the bus was separated by Caucasian people in the front and Black people in the back. But if there were no seats available in the front, the bus driver would tell the Black people in the back to move so that these Caucasian people can sit down when they're in their allotted space. So that's what happened with her. There was a white gentleman that needed a seat, and the bus driver told 4 Black people in the back to get up out of their section so he could sit down. And again, Rosa was like, "No."
She was like, "Nah."
Yes. So she was one of the very few that helped initiate the civil rights movement in Montgomery in 1955. And it took an entire year. It wasn't until 1956, through her and then a lot of people following her steps, being inspired, that segregation was then ruled, you know, unconstitutional. So yeah. That's why my shirt says "Nah."
Right on, right on.
I think that's it for Ask Adam. Oh, wait. Emmanuel Levy, he says,
Yes.
"Is Kat going to sing a song on the next album?"
100%. And it's going to be one she approves, so we don't need more marriage counseling.
You know, I do approve them at some point, but sometimes just when you know, like, bring them to me, it doesn't sound right.
Okay, one last question. Ellen Nakata Harper, friend of the show, she's always hanging, and
Yeah.
she said, "Wow, with all your projects, how do you find time to sleep?" Well, there's not much sleep going on. So I wake up at 5 every day. I'm usually in the studio by 6, and I usually do like 12-hour days, you know. So that's how I stay on top of everything. And, you know, got these deadlines coming up. And then, of course, all of the amazing artists that I'm doing projects for. I just have so much fun with that as well. And you know what? It's what is the saying, Kat? If you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. So I just feel really blessed to be doing music and working with so many talented people. So you know.
But I don't know how accurate that is. Because, I mean, let me tell you guys, it is amazing, you know, to work in a career that you love love. And even me, I've had my career in makeup artistry and hairstyling. And even though you love doing it, it's hard sometimes, and you still get tired.
No, it's. I didn't say that. I didn't say it wasn't hard or it wasn't a lot of work, but still, you know, it's a blessing to have all you guys hanging out and hanging with us on this musical journey. So can't wait to share the next chapter with you guys for sure. So
yes.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Kat, as
You're welcome.
always.
Thank you.
And we will see you next week.
All right. Bye, guys.
All right, and speaking of next week, we have an incredible guest all the way from Boston by way of Barbados. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Elon Trotman is in the house. We had such a ball connecting, chatting, talking about his history, and we are going to jam on a couple of his tunes. It's going to be so much fun. February 10th. That is next Wednesday, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, right here on Adam Holly Artist Page. By the way, don't forget to follow Adam Holly Artist Page so you can hang out with us each Wednesday and, of course, enjoy all the other content we put in every week. And also, coming up, we have Kayla Waters, Blake Aaron, Wakana from Japan, Will Donato. Those are just a few of the incredible guests coming up, and I just secured another appearance from our favorite trumpeter out there. You know who I'm talking about. The one and only Rick Braun will be back in the coming weeks, in the coming next month or so, months to 2 months. But he is coming on, and we are going to have a blast. So we have all of that to look forward to, plus some sneak peeks at the new album will be coming to you in a couple weeks. So I got one more tune before we get out of here, ladies and gentlemen. This is a tune that's a favorite of mine. It's a modern standard. It was originally done by Norah Jones, and it's just one of my favorite tunes. And so this is a debut on AH Live, never performed before. I put this track together yesterday so I could play it for you guys. I hope you enjoy. This is a tune called Don't Know Why. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, just a little bit of Don't Know Why to close us out. Thanks so much for tuning in. We had the incredible Nils in the house. Thanks again, Nils, for showing up. And please tune in next week for Elon Trotman. He will be in the house with some brand new music. Don't forget you can support the show at PayPal, Cash App, and Venmo, and Stars. We appreciate you all for hanging, and we hope to see you next week. I hope you have an amazing evening. We'll see you later.